My friends, happy fall, happy end of the week. Uh, I am not being lazy, but I do want to let you know that the segment I have prepared to do for our live Q&A tonight was a little bit heavy for me. So I'm going to reschedule that for next week. You will not want to miss it. I want to look at accidental racism within Christianity, and how we can identify it, how we can eliminate it. And lest you worry that I'm going to be over the top and calling everything by, labels that they're not, I want to do the opposite. I want to address the matters of the heart, and I want to talk about some behaviors that we can look at, though, to further the mission of God. So, if you're a Christian, if you go to a church that is especially mostly European based, you're going to want to tune in. Got some ideas, and frankly, I stole them from a friend, but I've added to them myself. Anyway, we'll put all that aside right now. I want to welcome you. Happy Friday evening if you're watching this tonight. It's been a long week. I've had a couple things come up that I didn't prepare very well for and laid me out flat. I'm feeling low energy tonight. I just want to hang out with you. But I want to do something a little bit different tonight. This week, I created a Life of Jesus quiz, partially for some kids in my life, partially because it's introducing a course that we're going to be having coming up next month, which I'll tell you more about at the end of this. But if you have not yet taken the quiz, please check out the link, take the quiz. It's 10 questions. If you are a Bible scholar, it's going to be simple. There are some trick questions in there, though, so read carefully. I want to go over the answers because there are some students who took this quiz for me to help me formulate it, who are waiting for the explanations on why they got it right or wrong. And I thought you guys would find that fun too. It turns into a little bit of a study on the life of Jesus. So without further ado, I'm Amy with Ask a Christian. I'm so glad you took the quiz. And I want to especially thank those 5th through 9th graders, those teachers as well, who helped give us a baseline for this quiz. Now, the average public quiz right now score is 74.8. So just random people who've seen it online, the average score for the quiz that I sent out to the public is 74.8. And the students 5 through 8 is 76.2. So not a whole lot of difference. That's really interesting and really close. And there's only been one question in the whole 10 question quiz that not one person has missed so far. And that's question number 1, which I wanted to start out with a little bit easier. So let's review, my friends. Question number 1 is, what was the name of the angel who visited Mary to announce Jesus's birth? The answer is Gabriel. Luke 1:11 through 38 is what we call the Annunciation, same root word as announce. The angel Gabriel appears to Zechariah and the Virgin Mary, foretelling the births of John the Baptist and Jesus, respectively. So I also want to let you know, if you haven't noticed, this is a biblical Jesus quiz. We are looking at stories from the Christian perspective. Other options on that, or Gamaliel, who is a well-known rabbi, Seraphim, which is a class of angel that we read about, and Ezekiel, an Old Testament prophet. So, of course, Gabriel is the right answer. All right, number 2, who was born 6 months before Jesus, sent to prepare the way for him? Now, this was one of the tricky ones. The correct answer is, I believe, answer number 4, which was both the first and second answers. So the first answer was his cousin, and the second answer was John the Baptist. So that is the correct answer, selecting both of those included in the first and second answers. Luke 1:36 tells us that story, and why that works is because the word there is relative or kinswoman. So Mary went to visit Elizabeth to talk about her pregnancy, and Elizabeth was her kinswoman or relative. Probably not her sister. They would have said sister. So probably a cousin of some type, which would also make John the Baptist Jesus's cousin. Isn't that cool? All right. Joseph of Arimathea was the other often selected answer, and he was a respected member of Jewish council who actually liked Jesus. All right. Question number 3. What was the name of the widow who prophesied or spoke blessings over the baby Jesus in the temple? Do you know it? By the way, I'll pause to welcome those who have joined me live. Thank you for being here. We're just going over some trivia answers, and you'll see the link to the quiz in there if you want to put me on pause and take it. So, hi, Mom. Luke 2:36-38 tells that short story. It says, there was also a prophetess, Anna, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. She never left the temple but worshipped night and day, fasting and praying. At that moment she came and began to praise God and to speak about the child to all who were looking for the redemption of Jerusalem. So the answer to number 3, Anna was a woman, a widow woman, who was constantly in the temple, constantly praying for the deliverer of Israel. Very interesting. The second most frequently chosen answer is Elizabeth, who, as we just talked about, was John the Baptist's mom, Mary's relative, and Esther is an Old Testament queen. The other option, Adele, is a pop singer, not mentioned in the Bible. Question number 4. Where did Jesus's family go to avoid Herod the Great when he was trying to kill Jesus? You had several answers, some local, some further away, and the answer is Egypt. Matthew 2:13-23 tells us this story. It says, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, said, arise, take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt and stay there until I give you the word to come back. Now, I was almost going to give you bonus points for this, but I decided to keep it simple. This was actually prophesied by another Old Testament prophet named Hosea. And the Bible says that this happened so that the word of the prophet could be fulfilled, saying, out of Egypt I have called my son. So you can look that up in Hosea. I think it's Hosea 1, but don't quote me on that. All right, we're halfway through it. Number 5, it says, what important event in the Bible happened to Jesus when he was 12? One of the answers was he was playing Freebird at his bar mitzvah, and that's definitely not the right answer. The correct answer is that he was found teaching in the temple. His parents had lost sight of him and came back 3 days later. Luke 2:41 tells us the story. It says, after 3 days, they found him in the temple courts, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking questions. Everyone who heard was amazed at his understanding and answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. His mother said, son, why have you been treating us like this? Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you. Do you remember what Jesus said in response? Mother, you knew I would be in my father's house about my father's business. I don't think Jesus was actually being that sassy. I think he was probably very sweet about it. But I will say it sounds like it could be sassy, which gives me, a very sassy person, a little bit of hope. Number 6, which one of these is not one of Jesus' miracles? Now, you guys did awesome on this. I thought I was going to throw you a curveball, but most people came out really well on this one. The answer is casting demons into a flock of sheep. The reason, of course, is because in the biblical account, Jesus did cast demons into a group of animals, but it was a herd of piggies. You could find that in either Mark 5 or Luke 8 if you want to read more about it. Number 7. Now, this one did take a lot of casualties. It slayed you. Out of Jesus' 12 disciples, who were considered closest to him? Well, it was not Jay-Z, as I put in my answers, but I did get a couple people to fall for the Jay-Z answer. It's also not Kanye, though I'm very appreciative of his journey and desire to glorify God. You had to know a little bit of extra information for this one to go over smoothly. My question for you is, do you know who the sons of Zebedee are? Because that is the right answer to number 7. Peter and the sons of Zebedee. And less than 1/3 of both students and the public got that knowledge right. So the sons of Zebedee were James and John. So Peter, James, and John were some of the closest to Jesus. And how do we know that? Well, there's not just one place where we can prove that, but as you read through the Bible, you'll notice there are multiple occasions where Jesus took these 3 guys with him when there were miracles happening, or raising of Jairus's daughter, the transfiguration, or when he was very sorrowful, like when he was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane. So it does seem like they were a little bit closer to the inner circle. Number 8, which of these phrases is not a saying of Jesus? And the answer is, whoever wants to become great among you must be your prophet. I was just playing with that one because many of you got it right. It's whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. This was wild for Christianity. This is one of the ways that Christianity differentiated themselves around among the powerful or the authoritarian people of the day. They would go swaggering around demanding servants to, do things for them or whatever. And Jesus says, look, if you want to be the greatest, flip that. You serve. He even goes so far to say, you become a slave to them. Now, we won't get into the implications of that today, but it is fascinating. It's Matthew 20:26, if you want to look it up. All right, question number 9. We're wrapping up here. Where was Jesus crucified? This is another one where the public answering this quiz got it much more right than the students. The public got 94% of them got this question right, and only 31% of our students got it right. Jesus was crucified at Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. Matthew 27:33 tells us about it if you want to look it up. And finally, number 10, what were some of Jesus's final words to his followers after the crucifixion and before ascending to heaven? So I'm asking you to know and be able to recall the timeline here. And I threw a couple of tricks in. So the right answer is go and make disciples of all nations. Matthew 28:16 is where we find that idea. That phrase says after Jesus is raised, he visits the ladies, he meets with the disciples, and he says, the most important thing that Christians believe we could be doing is talking about God, making disciples. And so those are some of his final words. And the one that tripped you guys up was the final option. It said, "Men of Galilee, why do you stand gazing up into heaven?" That was second most frequently chosen. And that was actually said by angels after Jesus ascended and the disciples were kind of looking up into the sky. So there you have it. Thank you so much. I had a great time making the quiz, reading your answers, just enjoying doing this whole process. And the reason that we did this process is that we do have an upcoming online small group lecture series that I want to invite you to. And it starts the first Thursday of November and will continue for 8 lectures, although we have not quite yet nailed down the dates or times for them. I think it will be Thursday, Friday, and Sundays. So stay tuned for more details and check your email. But we're excited to be looking at the biblical Jesus and the historical Jesus. We've got a biblical viewpoint, but we also want to bring in some of the critical ideas on why people don't believe and what some of the hangups are. And we want to end on what is possible if Jesus could be the Son of God, and why, despite some of the things we don't know, are we still so fascinated by him. So that's coming up in November. You are welcome to join us. And if you've got a background outside of the faith community, or you've been burned, or you're in and your significant other's out, vice versa, it'll be a great place to explore some of these ancient truths about Jesus, some good ideas, some skeptical ideas, and a place where you will not be told what to think, but we'll be able to have safe and fun discussion about that. So please mark your calendars and keep your eyes on your email address. And you sure can email me if you'd like to get on that mailing list. You can send your request to askachristianfriend@gmail.com or find us on Facebook. You probably don't want to leave your email under the YouTube videos. Someone will get you and spam you, but it won't be me. All right. Well, it was a pleasure seeing some of you on tonight. I hope you have a very restful evening and a great Saturday tomorrow. Hope you fill it with friends and family and faith. I hope that you take time for yourself and to love others. I'm wishing you joy and peace for your journey. I'll see you later.